All right. How is everyone doing? Let's go, guys. So, we'll start by looking at where we are leading into Tuesday's trading. So right now I'm just waiting for market to open. That's what I've got this this fib tool here is for where I'm going to mark out today's opening range gap. So I've already pinned it to the high of yesterday's RTH close. And then as soon as market opens, I'll pin the low to today's RTH open. Honestly, I'm not expecting too much for this New York session because we have a lot of Trump news, a lot of bad war news. So we could see a fair bit of choppy price action for most of this New York session, as we have for the whole duration of this war currently. But if I was to prefer anything this morning, I would be leaning back down towards trading in this week's New Week opening gap, which is below this current low of the day that we've put in. So we'll see what happens. Ideally, we get a bit of a bullish move at the start of the open, fill in some of this opening range gap, and then head lower towards this week's New Week opening gap. And a few 1 minute civvies that I've marked out down here as well. Might just turn off these session boxes that I've got open at the moment. Okay, 10 seconds until the open. Let's see what we get. So we've already reached the midpoint of this opening range gap, which ended up being a 100-point gap as well. Quite nice. Quite a big gap. Nothing that I'd really want to trade off of until probably leading towards this first macro, the 950 to 1010 macro. So we got that quick run on this buy side liquidity that we're looking for, but it would be too early for me to jump in for a short. We actually do have some SMT with that run higher as well. Which does provide a bit more confluence if you were to jump in early here. Now we kind of have SMT at both ends of this current range that we're forming. Not ideal. Now if I'm looking for a short down towards this internal sell side and further towards this new wick opening gap, I'd want to be taking a trade in the premium of at least this current range that we're in. That's if we believing that this high is going to stay as the most recent swing high before running down to the sell side level. But obviously this is just a smaller window in this larger piece of price action that we have here from today's London session high down towards pre-market lows. I think we also have ICT streaming at the moment. Obviously not the best time to stream when ICT is also streaming, because he's going to be taking 99% of the ICT traders on YouTube. I'm not going to be putting too much on the line in these current market conditions either. Only trading micros at the moment. Since we are getting, you know, random 100 point candles throwing itself into the mix. So moving up towards this wick that we've put in here with our 9:30 opening candle. I'm going to chuck a few more lines on the chart here, just to overcomplicate things. Okay, interesting here. See how this operates if it's an inversion that is willing to hold. Usually I wouldn't mind the idea of a short from this inversion fair value gap, but we haven't had much structure put in place prior to this. We've had a one sweep of this buy side level. So in general, what that's going to do at a New York Open is just instantly catch these people who are wanting a reversal from here. So they see a sweep of buy side level, displacement lower, which, I mean, wasn't really significant displacement, it was just a large down candle. And then obviously inversion fair value gap to go short towards these lows. Like, the idea is there, but I just don't think so early into the New York AM session that is something I want to be taking, considering the sentiment that's probably in play right now for shorts. Could have been somewhat of a scalp though if you were to enter on that inversion fair value gap. You know, could have got 30 odd points. Could have been a little scalp there. Yeah, honestly, this is probably gonna be a pretty neutral day overall with how we're looking. Wait for this 950 macro and see if we get any better movement. Honestly, I'm not gonna stick around for too long today if we're just gonna be stuck in a I mean, I say small range. We have moved 100 points really since the open, but it's been nothing that's tradable, really. And we want something that's tradable. So we're using last Thursday's new day opening gap here. And then last Friday's new day opening gap here. Wedged in between the two. Another little scalp opportunity from this inversion fair value gap here. But again, I still think this is bait. But some good downward displacement that we seem to be getting. That candle could have been the bait to catch breakout traders short. With the way that's why seeing price action live is so much better than looking at it through market replay, because even in my own mind, seeing that black downward candle here get so low, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, the short might have been the play. Then you see it just turn into a big wick as well during that 1 minute candle. It's mind games. we just took out this, I guess now. Small sell side level here. If I was short from this inversion fair value gap, I would have done something like this. A 1-to-1 would have been there. I probably would have scoured out a 1-to-1 and then probably TP'd only to here, considering this high resistance structure that we seem to be in at the moment. And that trade would have been in the premium of that range as well that I spoke about at the start of the stream. Very, very interesting right now. Leading into this 950 macro. Now, I don't put any importance on this bearish fair value gap here, but I'm just noting it for if we want to turn it into an inversion or not, and maybe build structure to move higher against this downward bias right now. Start of the 950 macro. So the reason I favor this internal sell side level is purely because that the one to the left of it is the extreme low of this current range that we're in. And if we're being choppy and overall in a higher resistance condition, I don't expect the extremities of the range to be broken easily. So for price to sweep below this level first, that would be my complete target if I was going for sell side here. And that level compared to here is only 7 points, so you're missing out on 7 points, which in the grand scheme of things isn't much at all. Interesting, we wick down into this tiny volume imbalance here. And then yeah, here we are getting our immediate run higher, stopping out people who have trailed their stops too quickly that were in short. And potentially trapping people who are still holding short and maybe running up to a buy side level like this. As this is what is in this inversion fair value gap, so there'd be a lot of resting orders above this level here. Potentially. We're going just back into the range here. I don't mind more of a run up above this initial high we put in at 930, filling in the rest of this opening range gap. So far we've just wicked into it, so we haven't done much of an actual rebalance of this area here. Now I'm kind of waiting to see if one of my models are going to play out. So we're in a macro window, which is what I want to see. And the other two things I'm looking for initially are us reaching into a high time frame PD array, sweeping a level of liquidity, and then having a change in state of delivery. So for me, what an entry criteria would look like currently is if we were to maybe sweep back into this new week opening gap, which would also be a sweep of this sell side over here on the left, and then run back up, change in state of delivery, entry, and then go long up towards those areas. Okay. There's that extremity level now taken. And we're reaching down into this week's new week opening gap, which is what we were wanting to see. Nice bit of a run lower here now. Okay, so we've almost closed up shop here on this new week opening gap. Ryan, hey bro, how you going? Good to see you, good to be back on the charts. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Pity that price action's a bit hard to read at the moment with all this wartime stuff that's going on, and Trump just making random calls, making things a little bit unpredictable and sketchy as well. You know, when you're getting these 100-point range candles on the 1 minute chart. Yeah, too easy, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Keen to do some live trading with you in the future. I think if there's going to be an opportunity for a trade anytime soon, it might be a bit of a retracement long. You're off on Thursday? Yeah, cool, man. I think Thursday would be good for me as well. I'll have to double check as well, but we could sort something out. Seems like this inversion fair value gap was the play this morning. Definitely wasn't keen on taking it, but over 160 points we've moved so far. Using the low of the opening range gap, inversion fair value gap, targeting this new week opening gap, which was our draw for the morning. And then we go, we're flying now. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would have, like, yeah, I would have only taken it if it was a bit further into the session open. I mean, this is pretty early, and considering before that, all we'd been doing is staying in this very tight-knit range. I wasn't 100% sold on this initial spike higher, running out the buy side was going to be the only run before going lower. But it clearly was. So we're pretty close to the low of the week. Current low of the week at the moment. I think once we take this low of the week, I don't really have anything I'd probably want to try and enter on for the rest of this morning session. Unless we sort of build some structure for a bit of a retracement. There's not a whole lot that I'd be... When we're so far down in this discount of the current range, it's nothing I'd want to be really trading to get a continuation short. I'd be wanting to wait for more of a premium entry if I was looking for a continuation short. On the daily for a second. I think if I was to draw out yesterday's discount wick, some quadrants on that. Yeah, we're trading at the midpoint of that at the moment. If I use the wick from last Thursday, much bigger range, we could probably use these levels as confluence for a trade as well. I'm going to keep these on my chart in case we do go below the sell side level. At least we've got something to target towards next. And we have a massive opening range as well. That's crazy. The -2 standard deviation from our current opening range leaves us directly at Thursday's low over here, which is very interesting. Because if you're someone who likes to use standard deviations, taking this New York AM opening range, the -2 to -2.5 standard deviation is often something that's really good to target when it overlaps with a key liquidity level like it does here. Interesting, I'll keep a note of that. Yeah, I'd like to see something like that as well. We have these 2 consecutive or 3 consecutive bearish fair value gaps here, but if we can come up to here, back towards our new week opening gap, and then get a continuation lower, that'd be a nice play. Purely because we've got a fair value gap that overlaps with a higher time frame PD array. That'd be something what I'd be looking for. Almost 230 points from this inversion fair value gap play. Did we get a bit of a retracement here, perhaps? Let's also take a look at our midnight opening range. So we're currently just past the -4 standard deviation up the midnight opening range. A good spot for a potential retracement as well. If there's not something shortly, might call it for this morning session. There's not a whole lot that I'm favoring here. Do I potentially jump in for a little bit of a retracement move? Not sure if it's even going to be given here. Okay, that's our retracement move that we're wanting to see. So the play might have had to come from this little market structure shift that we have here, overlapping with this small fair value gap. Something like that could have got you that retracement move back into the new week opening gap. Now this was the start of the displacement here. So that's a fair value gap I'm actually going to care about. think we're in sort of no man's land right now. I can see us just doing a little bit of a chopping around here until maybe leading towards the end of the hour where we then make a newer displacement move. Now we're just getting to the end of the first hour of the RTH regular trading hours. Now, I wonder if a lot of people are going to be seeing this here as an inversion fair value gap. I feel like a lot of people are, but I'm not too sold on that. Yeah, guys, I think I might leave it here. Nothing that I'd be willing to jump in on anytime soon, I don't think. So instead of trying to force a trade, I'm gonna be responsible and call it and be on again tomorrow. Alright, so thanks to those who tuned in, and I'll see you in the next one when hopefully our price action is a bit more free flowing and trades are plentiful, but we'll see until then. Cheers.